Leafman podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Taylor. This is my co-host,
Brooks McWhorter.
And today, we got some topics for you.
As always.
Kind of lost my voice this week. I was sick for like a week. So I'm like a little scratchy.
Yeah, you sounded rough though the other day.
I did. I was like,
on Friday.
It sounded like I was going through puberty again.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
I never did that.
I was born fully pubescent. Okay. So I had a talk. One of our employees was having like a personal
Ordeal.
Not a personal ordeal. They're going through like a large personal thing that they had never gone through before. And we were talking about it seriously, and like I was kind of talking to him and giving him some advice. And we were talking about so he had a friend that passed away, right? And he was talking to me about how to get through it. And we've had a lot of friends in the military. I've had a lot of friends post-military. You know, I've lived a very fast-paced life, and when you live fast-paced life with fast-paced friends, like a few of them were bound to fall off along the way. Yeah, it's just part of it.
Yeah, we've definitely been through the ringer in that subject.
Yeah, and so he was asking me about it. We were talking, and and I was like, you know, for me, like I choose to have faith because I can't prove it whether it exists or doesn't exist, and it just makes me happy to think about there being an afterlife, and to each their own. And then we were talking about being, you know, like optimistic versus pessimistic. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I grew up like a very pessimistic person. Like that's how my family was. And that's how, you know, how I grew up. And like now I'm pessimistic. And he was asking me how to become optimistic from pessimistic. And I was like, that's actually a great question.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Right.
So my theory on it is that like if you're an optimistic person and you want to become, or if you're a pessimistic person and you want to become an optimistic person, the way that you do that is by going through your life and setting goals and then following through on those goals over and over and over again. And when you do that, it allows you to like look at life from a different perspective, because you look at something with like a thread of evidence behind you that says, I can do this. I just need to break it down into goals and small manageable tasks, and I can get it through. And that teaches you to be like, okay, well, why wouldn't I be able to do that? Because I've done all these other things. But if you've never accomplished anything, it's very easy to be like, I can't do that. That's impossible. You know, right. So to me, like the more things that you do, the more things that you try and do and succeed at, the more optimistic you will be by nature, I think.
I agree. I mean, I think it's all relative as well. Like, I hear what you're saying for sure. Mm-hmm. But what I thought when I first thought of it was, how do I go from being pessimistic to being optimistic? I don't really see it that way. I feel like it's just a state of opinion. It's like a state of mind that can vary from day to day. I'm not always going to be an optimist. I try to be an optimist every single day, but that's all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be an optimist every single day. I mean, and I'm pretty optimistic, and you know that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if someone told me my freaking dad had cancer, I wouldn't be like, well, circle of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It'd be very pessimistic.
I'd be pretty negative about it.
Half glass full kind of guy.
Yeah, I'd be pretty negative about it.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's a daily journey. Just kind of how you react to the world. It's not more or less a character trait. It's a character trait, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think honestly, by nature, some people obviously, like, whether it's nature or nurture, how they were brought up, I don't know. I think some people are inherently more optimistic than pessimistic.
Obviously.
I think that's just part of it. You know, there's also people who have superior physical genetics to me. That doesn't mean that because they have superior genetics to you that you can't work on it and like get to their level. Like, what if they never take care of their body and you take care of your body every day? You're eventually going to catch up and outlast them. Same thing with optimism versus pessimism. Like, they might have that by nature, but if you try every day to just be like more happy with your thoughts and more pessimistic, more optimistic, then you will become that.
It's practice.
It's practice.
Yeah.
It's practice.
Perishable skill.
Perishable skill. It's a good way to put it. Everything else. Yeah, I really like that. It was a good thought. Like, that was a good question for him to ask me. Like, how do you become? I like that. I enjoyed that. It showed real growth and thought into weighing how you think and how to change that. And I feel like
and recognizing it.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. I feel like a lot of people don't. They don't. It's gonna sound so weird. A lot of people don't think about how they think. You know what I mean? Like how I
Yeah,
think is
I
how I
understand
think.
that.
So that's just it. But if you take time to really think and weigh the pros and cons of how you think, then you can start to like identifying problems. And I feel like, you know, sometimes you've definitely heard me say, and people have heard me say that like, and we joke about it that like going to a therapist or psychologist is like a soft science, right?
Right.
And, like we joke about it.
It
But
is a soft science.
in reality, I do think there's a lot of benefit to it.
It's
I think it's
by
great.
definition a soft science, but it does help.
It does help. Yeah, it does help. Like I think it's great. I think because you're thinking about how you think, you're subject to be able to change it. If you never think about it or don't talk about it, then you're not thinking about that process. So it's just like, this is how I think, this is who I am. It's like, I'm not thinking about it. You know?
Yeah,
So,
it's a big nature v nurture thing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would say, because I mean, like you and me are inherently optimistic. When in our formative years, we went through stuff that I would consider would create a pessimistic person.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we also grew up in a house with our dads.
Yeah.
And my dad's a psychotic optimist.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah.
And he's the happiest guy out there. He's California, good old boy.
Same with my dad.
And then your dad is just all
nothing gets him down.
Nothing gets him down.
Oh, yeah.
Always making jokes. I feel like so that's where the nurture comes into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are people that are just, they're born pessimistic even into that environment.
Yeah,
even
same.
into that environment.
Yeah, like I have siblings who are very pessimistic about
Right.
life, and they had the same dad that I had.
Exactly.
You know, so again, some things are nature versus nurture. It's really weird. Like you could go so deep on that concept.
Oh, for sure.
I would love to, in the future, once we start having people on, I would love to go deep dive on that exact conversation.
Dude, I feel like every single week I have a new guest for us, so we gotta
we gotta get a
the
list.
ball rolling.
Dude, we should start the list on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start
we'll
getting
do
on
that.
the list. Yeah. Maybe we'll like have a whiteboard back here so people can be like, oh, can you see the blurry writing in the background? They're gonna have such and such on.
Yeah, I think it'll be better too.
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, we're gonna have some good guests on.
Like a lot of, obviously, like we don't know famous people, but like, I mean, I've got that guy that was on Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. What's up, Alex Hormozy? You ready to come onto my podcast? Andy Frisella, we're calling you out. Yeah, no, it's good. Denzel Washington, maybe.
He's got time.
What's like a famous person who has like a famous actor who has a podcast? Do you know any?
Yeah. What's his name? Armchair expert. From Chips.
Oh, yeah.
Blonde guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's married to Kristen Bell, right? Dax Shepard?
Yes, Dax Shepard.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
yeah,
Dax. I don't like enough of your shit.
We went off on a tangent there.
Yeah.
But that was good. Why is humility important and how do you exercise it? We've talked about that a few times, but we'll talk about it again.
Yeah.
Why is humility important? There's a time and place to be humble, and there's a time and place to be confident. And I think humility and confidence reside together.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can be humble because you're confident. I
Yeah.
think you can be prideful and arrogant because you're not confident. So humility comes from confidence, in my opinion. Like, I know that I'll win this fight, so I don't need to be loud and obnoxious and up in your face.
Right. Yeah, I've always been like, I've always loved that, it's not slang, that like phrase, just like in the military. It's always like the SF guys, and they call them quiet professionals.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that phrase a lot. Quiet professional rings true in a big way for me, just because it's just like, I don't want to hear some dude be like, what? You just look at me?
Yeah.
You know how good I am at shooting? I'm like,
Yeah.
are you gonna shoot me?
Yeah. Well, it's also like
Shut up, dude.
there's like, even if you look at like social media, right? There's guys who have like extreme wealth and extreme success, and they will like, you'll catch them talking or doing like a story, and they'll get into a nice car, right? And you're like, that's a nice car. That guy's very wealthy. But or you see him walking into his house on like it's just like on a story or a snapshot. Like that wasn't the main focus.
Yeah.
It was just part of like
Just it was in the,
they had something else to say and you saw it or caught a glimpse of it. Those kinds of people are like humble to me, right? They have the success. And then there's the guys who are like, look at me, I'm driving a Bugatti or a Lamborghini. Like they're pointing out the thing that they have, and like that's not humility. Like,
yeah. Do you ever watch like the Rich Kids of Instagram? You don't follow that, dude. You got to. You
I
gotta
got
get
to.
on. It's like a bunch of like, half of it I feel like it's a ton of rich kids, right?
Yeah.
And it's just them doing things that are overtly wasteful, like rich.
Yeah.
Like they'll open like a bottle of like $300 champagne and just pour it down the sink.
Oh,
Or they'll like just take a sledgehammer to a Bugatti and just like break the hood.
Heartbreaking.
It's so
Heartbreaking.
funny though.
Yeah.
But it's like that. Like
yeah.
It's like they're just like, look at all this stuff we have. We don't even need this champagne.
Yeah, I don't even need this.
I hate that attitude.
Yeah. Well, it's like you don't need to hide the fact that you're wealthy. Like humility is like, I'm not hiding the fact
don't hide it.
You don't need to hide the fact that you have nice cars or a nice house. Like you don't need to hide that. But you also don't need to point it out and be like, look at this that I bought. Look at this thing that I got.
Right.
It's like it will come out on the light in its own.
I'll do that with random things that I'm like passionate about. Like it's like I don't know, I'll have to show you after this podcast, but like Tim Kennedy posted something about he got a new like little like short barrel like little thumper rifle. And it's sick.
Yeah.
So I would brag about that too.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's not out there being like saying that he's the best and he's like this is what money affords me.
Yeah, I spent $10,000 to $15,000 on this one gun.
And it's
just
probably
like he's
gun,
probably just like, look at this sick gun that I bought.
He's like, I love it.
But it has nothing to do with the price tag.
And it's 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Or it's the video is like 10 seconds long. It's not like this big long thing. Like let's go through.
Look
all
at me,
the details.
man. I got this little quartz bear. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty sick. Did Withers get that for you at that weird store?
No, Erica and I bought this up at Bear Lake.
Oh, Withers got Sarah a skull that looks
just like that.
Is out of quartz crystal.
It's out of quartz. Yeah.
When he got me that alligator head.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at me and all my cool stuff. I got a sweet record player.
I know. I'm just gonna I don't really have like a scene or whatever behind me typically. I think just from now on I'm just gonna bring my tomahawk and just hold it
just
while I talk.
Dude, just put like a little.
It's my favorite item that I own.
Put like little version of your Toyota Tacoma on the back. Like, see that? I have that.
Yeah,
for reals out there.
Or just a Hot Wheels one.
Yeah. This is a miniature version of my car.
Yeah.
Cost me a lot of money.
This is what I got.
Yeah, so sick. I don't know. Humility is important, and I think humility just is important because it's not that humility is important, right? Humility, what people I think say when they're saying humility is important is that like you need to be confident enough that you don't need to be loud.
Yeah.
Humility is whatever, like who cares? Like you're humble. That's great. Like you don't talk about the things that you do. That's great. I agree with you, but like why does that really matter? Because what they're really saying is that guy is humble, and therefore he's probably confident in all the things that he does.
Right, and it's more
that's
respectful. It's just less douchey. Like,
less douchey.
No one likes overconfidence. Yeah. Confidence is great. I like people. Like I was talking to some guy today about rifles and stuff, and he really sounded like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome, but he's not sitting here being like, oh man, you can't shoot like me. You know what I mean? He's just like offering advice and like talking about different stuff.
Oh man, yeah. The internet is a wild place. All the things that we see these days, that's gotten there. That like it's so flashy, and people think that that's like the meaning of success is like what the things that you own or that you've purchased is like the determination factor of like how far you've come.
Yeah, but I don't like to demonize like having stuff.
Yeah, neither do I. I think it's good to have stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's bad to be like, I am important because of my stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's cool. You have cool stuff. I agree with you. I love that. But like, I love having cool stuff. I also have cool stuff. I agree with you. But like, pointing out your cool stuff is not as cool to me as like pointing out like the things that made you who you are to get that stuff.
Or that being like the thing. Like I feel like, depending on the situation, isn't like the most annoying thing in the world when you first meet someone and go to their house for the first time, they want to give you like a tour of all their stuff. It's like, why don't we just have dinner first?
Yeah.
And maybe we look at the house later. They're like, no, this is my 17 car garage.
Yeah. Just like
it's like okay.
What's his name in Ragnarok when he's like, behold, my stuff.
Yeah, and he's got the big 240 Bravo.
Yeah, he's got the two ARs. And he's like, this one Des and this one Troy. Together, they destroy.
But it's like that. It's like, welcome to my home, especially when it's like a big, nice, fancy ass home. I just know that I'm getting the tour, and I don't want the tour.
Yeah, no, I respect it. Like people do work hard, and it's cool to like share your stuff with your friends. Like I'm not demonizing the fact that you've worked hard and are successful, and you deserve to show people your wins. That's great. I just don't think that the things that you were able to buy because of your wins are the most important. Like, I think that the people's lives you've changed. I think that the happiness that you have in your marriage. I think the cohesiveness you have with your friends and your family. Like, that's so much. For me, that's so much more fulfilling. Like, cool, I got a nice truck that I drive every day. Yeah. You know what's better than that? Coming home to a sick relationship with my wife.
Right.
That's dope. You know, like
yeah, I feel like it's more what do you leave the world with? What did you leave the world with?
Yeah.
Not what are you taking with you?
Yeah.
What did you leave behind?
Yeah, I love that. That's cool. Yeah, it's about legacy, right? Like
yeah, you want to have a legacy where if someone remembers who you were 50 years from then, you would want them like to see you in a light that was like, oh, that person left a good impact on the world.
Yeah. Dude, it's honestly very difficult. Like building this company has shed a light on a lot of things in my life. Because, you know, even 3 years ago, if you would have asked me, I was trying to get into the real estate game. I wanted the financial stuff. Like I wanted those financial gains and financial powers. And
we all want a pool.
Yeah, we all want a pool. Like I get it. It's hot out there. You know what I'm saying?
Pool, I love the pool.
but the more I've got into it, the more I've thought about it, and it's like, dude, I got probably hopefully like 60, 70 plus more years on this life.
Right.
And during that time, like the car that I drive is going to change frequently. The houses will change. I'll upgrade, you know, but like I got one wife who's going to last me all of it.
As the years go by, you get better and better at camping.
Yeah, you get better at camping. But like with Trico, I used to be in like a rush to get to the money. But then the more I think about it, like the money is going away at some point in my life. And I'll give it to my kids. I'm sure they'll have extreme success and like, I'm not actually going to give it to my kids, but you know what I'm saying?
Give it to them while they're alive. That's you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject.
I can teach them about business, yeah. But like the whole point is like all of that stuff is irrelevant. If it's not irrelevant, but like if I can change enough people's lives, if we can build a good enough company that breeds good enough employees, that they go out and breed better employees and change families, then if you look, you know, people might not remember my name 200 years from now, but if we can change 1,000 employees' lives over the course of our lifetime building Trico, just 1,000.
That's a good.
All of those 1,000 people will have their own families, and that's generations changed with good, positive attitudes and good, positive mindsets and like the skills to build something of worth in themselves and in the world. And I feel like that is more invaluable than anything I could buy in this life with cash.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
You're not taking any money with you when you die.
Unnamed legacy.
No, and no one's gonna be like, and no one's legacy I feel like is solely that they were rich. Because I know rich people that are alive. I know tons of rich people that are alive. But like I can't name you like oh man, he died like 30 years ago, but he was rich.
Yeah, he was rich.
Like, I don't remember. I don't like any even like celebrities. I'm like,
yeah, like I've heard like, and there's lots of influencers who like or entrepreneurs who talk about like they want their legacy to like change the world and be remembered for generations, dude. They're like you have a few big names like Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, all these people that like have names that lasted hundreds of years beyond their life. Jesus Christ. Genghis Khan conquered half the world, dude. Half of it. He owned half of it, okay? You ain't conquering half the world. It's undoable in this day and age, okay?
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
You ain't doing it. So like
also it's crazy that like that story of him is like how he
disgusting.
He killed so many people that he changed the carbon level.
Yeah.
He changed the degrees of the planet.
And that's why we remember him that way.
And he's got about a million descendants.
Yeah.
Having kids everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. Yeah. And same with like Alexander the Great. He also conquered like a large chunk of the world.
Yeah.
And that's just not happening in this day and age. You're not like, maybe the president could do that, but honestly, at some point, like with the amount of nuclear weapons we have, you would just have to like destroy half of the planet for that to be a possibility.
Right.
And that's not going to happen. So I think there's a real limit on how far your legacy can go. So it needs to stop being about legacy, and it needs to be like legacy is good, but also like you need to find fulfillment in this life and know that the people that you're spending your time with, the wife, the kids, the friends, that you're setting those people up to also live long, full, successful lives.
Exactly.
Like that will make you feel.
And it'll have more of an impact.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
That's all I got for today. You got anything?
I did, but how are we on time, Ryan? 5 minutes? Let's get through it real quick. I just had a funny thing to bring up. Not really funny, but I woke up in a vibe on Saturday, and I made a playlist called "Can't Touch This Bitch," and it's all like Hillary Duff, Lindsay Lohan.
I'm into it, dude.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. We played it at the birthday party on Sunday. It was great. Anyways,
that's awesome.
Like the come cleans, all of that stuff, all the good stuff. Ashley Simpson. Anyways, But then we were like listening to music and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, but all of these people had a rough go for a little while. And it's like because you get so famous so young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the Britney Spears situations, Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton's, all that stuff. But I just wanted to bring up, like, where do you think it is in the childhood, or what do you think it is that is like that inciting incident that like literally just like go off the deep end? Do you think it's because my theory is that it's just the inability to know what normal is?
Yeah, I think it's the inability to know what normal is, and I also think that I think it's the inability to know what normal is, and honestly, like, I have a hard time now handling the pressure of this many people relying on me, and I am a 30-year-old adult who has
had life experience.
Lots of it.
Yeah.
And lots of things that I've gone through to be like a tough, hardened person. That's a child, and you have your parents who are like, you're our financial income, and your sisters and brothers who are like jealous of you and mad at you for being famous and getting all of mom and dad's attention.
Just all of the world out there.
And your agent and all these people who aren't necessarily telling you, but you're still an adult, and not adult, but you're still smart enough at 12 years old to know that everyone here is getting fed from your hand.
Right.
You know, like if you don't act, they're not getting what they need to survive. And like, I feel like that's just, a lot of pressure, dude.
Just the crazy, like it almost goes, I initially thought when I thought of this little subject, I was just like thinking like, is it nature versus nurture? But I don't think it is. Like, it's literally just that lack of knowing what normalcy is. Like Mike Tyson, for example, was so unbelievably famous and rich by the time he was 17, 18 years old. Like, he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He was giving away Mercedes Benz, like keys to cars at his birthday party.
Yeah.
like he's just like, I don't know.
Whatever.
I got a bunch of cars.
This is normal, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you just lose touch with reality. Like, you're a child. So
you're
your
not
reality,
living in the real world.
Yeah, your reality is like what people have fed you it to be. So it's just easy to lose touch. It's sad, honestly.
But yeah, anyways, well, I thought that'd be a fun one to talk about for a second, but it's just because you see it time and time again with this. The younger you get famous, I feel like the probability of going through some craziness.
Some people come back. I mean, Macaulay Culkin came back like
for sure.
40 years later.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's looking pretty good lately. I think he's looking pretty normal.
I mean, Hillary Duff made it through with no hard times.
Yeah, she's chilled.
She's
chilling, dude.
She left the game though. That's what you got to do.
She played it smart. She left. Yeah. Same with do you know the chick from Even Stevens has a podcast?
That's sick. Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. And Ren. She did the same thing. She like left Hollywood and then like went to Harvard and like got married and stuff, and now she has a podcast and they like talk about like all the old Disney shows, and she has like the Lawrence brothers and like other people like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They all come in. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
I gotta watch that. But anyways, I got nothing else for today.
That's all I got. Get out of my face.
Get out of mine first.